Step 5. The void into the fifth dimension. The great void before the light. Dearest one, we are joyous for you to join us as we continue on our journey through the corridor. We are now progressing towards the fifth dimension, but first we must cross the great void. Our corridor is much like the void, for it is in between all possible realities, while also being a gateway to every reality. In between the third and fourth dimensions and the higher worlds is a great void, which is actually a black hole, a passageway into higher dimensions. In this case, it is the higher dimensional expression of your present reality. Dimensions 1 through 4 are on the physical, astral side of the great void, whereas dimensions 5 through 8 are on the spiritual side of the void. There is another passageway before the 7th and 8th through 12th dimensions. This higher passage is not the nothingness of the great void. Instead, it is the everythingness of all that is. Your realities in the 5th through 7th dimensions prepare you for the experience of infinite experiences, all within the same now of the 8th through 12th dimensions. When you are functioning only from the ego self of your third dimensional reality, you are barely able to contain the experiences of one reality at a time. However, once you expand your consciousness to encompass the fourth dimension, you begin to have memories, dreams, and experiences of your parallel realities in other times and places on the third and fourth dimensions. However, you generally will need to move into a higher state of consciousness, shut out your daily life, in order to experience these other realities. On the other hand, when you expand your consciousness to embrace the fifth dimension, you will be able to simultaneously perceive several of your fifth dimensional realities. Without the limitations and illusions of the lower world, your multidimensional perceptions can be aware of several parallel realities within the same moment. Also, the higher dimensions can easily view the lower, whereas it takes consciousness expansion and practice for the lower dimensions to view the higher. It is your connection to your multidimensional self that allows you to view and experience the many versions of your multifaceted self. However, before you can enter the fifth dimension, you must journey through the nothingness of the great void. Experiencing the total darkness and nothingness of the void is necessary for you to fully release the illusions, limitations, and separation of polarities of the third and fourth dimensions. It is important to realize that whenever there is a major paradigm shift, such as the one commencing on Earth now, the polarities, especially those of love, light, and fear, darkness, become more and more apparent. The intensity of these heightened polarities so frustrate and confuse the masses that, almost unconsciously, their consciousness is pulled into the null zone, in between the extremes of opposite polarities. Many spiritual seekers of your earth cultures have undergone long periods of sensory deprivation, in complete darkness to find illumination. In Europe, mystics fasted and meditated on the vast networks of underground tunnels. The Egyptian initiates entered the pyramids, and the Romans secluded themselves in the catacombs for extended periods of fasting and meditation. The Essenes and Daoists used caves while the Tibetans entered caves and walled rooms for the same purposes. Their reason for meditating and fasting in the total darkness was to learn to feed self with inner light. Also, with no stimuli, the mind begins to wander into primordial as well as highly spiritual states of consciousness that are free of time and space. Because you have been downloading the higher frequencies of energy light that are bathing Gaia, and because the resonance of the planet is now a higher frequency, all you need to do in this era is visualize the deep darkness of the void. With the power of your imagination, you can activate the deepest centers within your brain to connect your pineal gland, crown chakra, with the universal energy, so that your pituitary gland, third eye, can receive this cosmic force and use it to launch your consciousness into interdimensional traveling. By going into your cocoon of darkness, which is nature's birth canal, you prepare yourself to emerge into a new life. To enter the great void before the fifth dimension, see the starry corridor before you. Millions of stars sparkle and spin to merge into a starry passageway. Do you see the very center? It is completely dark and seemingly without life. Can you release your old polarized thinking that the light is better than the dark? Can you realize that this dark void is an area where you can experience yourself as being the light? First, however, you must allow yourself to be the void, the nothingness that precedes your rebirth. Hear our words and feel the support of the many stars around you as you prepare to make the leap out of the illusion of who you were and in to the truth of who you have always been. See the very center of the corridor. It is completely dark now and seemingly without life. To enter this dark void, turn your mind around to know your true self. Do not think. Do not use logic, analysis, or even perception. Instead, just let go. Release all polarities. Release all the illusions of the material world, as well as your need to make them turn out right. Let go. Let go now. Suddenly, you find yourself in the great void. The darkness is complete and the emptiness absolute. There is nothing and no one to whom you can respond. There is total silence and you are alone, alone with only yourself. Forever, you float in the nothingness. Gradually, with no illusion of person or thing upon to which to attach your fear, you realize that fear itself is an illusion product of your physical reality. In the void, there is nothing to fear except fear itself. The face of fear is only your own, and the voice of fear can only be your own. Can you remember love? Whispers the inner voice of yourself. Your inner voice speaks so softly that you must quiet your consciousness completely to hear it. With a deep breath, you completely surrender to the nothingness of the void and embrace its darkness. Once you remember to embrace the void, you begin to deeply experience yourself as pure consciousness, free of all form, free of all limitation, and free of all goals, and, most wonderfully, free of all fear. Yes, you hear yourself speak into nothingness. I can remember love. As you remember love, you slowly begin to see your inner light, a single speck of light illuminating a starless night. As your inner light glows brighter, the darkness is gradually illuminated to reveal that you are not alone. All around you, countless specks of consciousness are blinking on and gradually increasing in brightness. With the force of your intention, you join these lights and discover that your journey is not without a destination. Your growing group of conscious lights is on a journey from their physical selves into higher and higher expressions of their spiritual selves. Each illumined consciousness is one of the members of the ground crew. Together, you are all having a dress rehearsal for the great play of planetary ascension. Since light seeks light, your group is slowly being guided toward a greater light. At first, you can feel only a warm glow, the first sensate experience since you entered the void. Because there is no space or time within the corridor, you have no concept of how long you have been on your journey. Nevertheless, in the now of your timeless experience, you sense a great energy beckoning you to join it. As you relax into the group of interdimensional travelers, your unified field easily carries you to the threshold into the fifth dimension. Before you is a huge crystal that appears to actually be a city. As you approach it, giant crystal doors open wide to receive you. Everywhere, the specks of light that once were humans burst into beautiful light bodies. take a moment to examine your form. Allow your imagination to be limitless as you release the dense boundaries of your human form and expand your body into its true magnitude. Your light body is your Merkaba, your chariot to the gods. Within this form, you can easily morph into any shape you desire. The specks of light that have become light bodies are now all flowing across the 5th dimensional threshold to the crystal city and into the crystal temple. It is within the crystal temple that each of you will be directed to your next experience. Hold all that you just experienced in your conscious mind. What form do you wish to inhabit? And where do you wish to travel? All reality is yours for the choosing. The Arcturians. P.S. Please take 1 or more birthdays to integrate your process into both your personal and planetary bodies. In this manner, you share your experiences with Gaia to assist in planetary ascension and allow Gaia to amplify your process with her great love and compassion.